We often look at happiness as being something that exists outside of ourselves. We're looking for other things to satisfy us and to give us meaning in our lives, especially when we're going through challenging times. I want to talk to you today about how we can, in our own mind and our own lives, find solitude and find peace. Find a calmness that we sometimes need in this crazy world. I've got 19 different things that you can consider, and I hope that you find these useful. My name is Margaret Manning. I'm with 60andMe, and I'm so grateful that you're here today with me. Being in a community like this is so helpful when we're feeling a little vulnerable, a little needing of support, and we're here for each other. So I want to talk to you today about some very practical things that you can do to feel stronger, feel more centered, and in control of your world and your life. Now, our sponsor for today's show is International Living. Now, International Living is a great company that helps people to think about retiring overseas. They've got some amazing resources. If you're thinking about going to another country or retiring in a different place, there's a lot of questions that you want to ask yourself, and they've thought about it. They have consultants on the ground that report back, and so it's a real world experience. So check out International Living. It's internationalliving.com/60andme and see whether they have a report that you can ask them to send the link to. It's a very educational and useful company to work with. So let's talk about going inside. Now, I know that, sometimes we spend a lot of time alone, and we maybe think to ourselves, maybe I need to be kind of positioning my happiness, my well-being on things I've accomplished in the world. But sometimes there's a value to just sitting down, looking inside, and just absorbing the things that you can do with your conscious mind. Now, Joan Moran is one of our bloggers. I love Joan's work. I love her writing. I love her heart. She's got a very sensitive way of looking at things that are just, troubling us and whatever. And I think she says, you spend so much time looking for other people to help you. Sometimes it's good to just look at the resources you've got inside yourself. Everything you need is there. And, especially when you might be finding yourself wanting to spend more time by yourself, this is some good ideas to sort of make it a positive time. So the purpose of your life, this is a tough one. I was talking to someone just the other day who was in her 50s, and she was going through some challenges in her mid 50s. And it was like, yes, that's a tough time. And finding purpose in your life as you kind of transition into your 60s. Well, most of us in our community are over 60. So we kind of absorbed a bit of that transition at least, and now we're working. But I think it's just, creating purpose. It doesn't have to be related necessarily to the outside. It can be related to just knowing that you've done the best. Doing a life review can be really helpful. I've done this a couple of times, and that process of just going through the things that you've contributed in this world, the things you've done, the difference that you have made. You may not see it from your 60-year-old person, but you have probably helped more people than you ever would know in your life. The next thing is to develop right intentions, to know that, even if you might have to take a sideways destination or turn, in another way, you can have an intention to move forward with a goal that may take some time. It doesn't have to be something that it may be wanting to accomplish, master something, but just be patient with your intentions and move forward. Create that kind of balance in, wanting it now, but knowing it's going to take some time and that you have to be patient with yourself. Another thing is to create your own life strategies. I really like this one. It's like, if you want to have a goal that you're trying to reach, and you've got things that are in between. I just about started to say in the way, and they can be in the way. You've got to kind of have a plan. A strategy is like a mission statement. It's like bigger than the actions of today. You've got to have a strategy. How are you going to do this? Are you going to do it by being more outspoken, more truthful in your conversations? Are you going to change the way you look? Are you going to change the way, like physically, you lose weight or improve your diet? What is your strategy? Find, what works for you, and don't choose something that is not going to work. That's no good. I've done that before, and just choose strategies that have tactics that are going to be actionable and possible. Managing your fears. This is a very good one. Now, this video, of course, is being published in a time when the world is in a little bit of chaos. I don't know when you're watching it, but, we go through this. This is a cycle in our life. Sometimes things are more dramatic than we want them to be. But, right now we've got fears. And I think that we have to be well, of course, you have to be concerned about certain things in the world, but you have to be calmer and know that you have the control around it. There's some things you can do, very practical things to just keep yourself well and to manage the fears. And it's so funny. I was just reading a little story to my grandson yesterday, and it was just a Thomas the Tank Engine story. All you grandmothers who know Thomas the Tank Engine. And it was about this little train, I think it was Percy, who was going into a tunnel because the trucks had run away. And he was going into the tunnel and it was dark. And it was like, oh my gosh, he was so scared. And then he saw his friend. And his friend was this other train that had moved away. And he said to Percy, it doesn't matter, being brave doesn't mean that you're not afraid. If you're afraid, it's what you do, is how you deal with your fear, what you do despite your fear. I don't know why I rambled off on that little story, but it's really a cool little story because it tells you, being brave isn't about being fearless. So dealing with your fears, managing your fears. Joan talks about connecting the 18 inches between your head and your heart. And I love this analogy because it's true. It's like, we always talk about, my hair's going crazy here today, frizzy. We always talk about, your heart being like, be guided by your heart. But the rule is kind of always take your head along with you. Find the balance between rational and emotional and take those appropriate steps. Just a second. I got to get this piece of hair out of my eye. Okay, I'm back. So making great decisions, of course. Yes, this is the number one thing I've always told my children when they were younger, and I'm telling my grandson, just make good decisions, think things through. Of course, do that. Another thing that Joan talks about is finding humor in every situation. Now, I know this is totally not possible many times, but I have found, and I was reading an article yesterday about how to deal with fears, is to watch something funny on YouTube or Netflix or Amazon, or wherever, get a video. Just watch something that makes you laugh, because humor softens you. It softens the edges. It just makes you feel a bit more in control. So humor is important. Maybe there's some other things you do too, like other activities. I was thinking to myself yesterday that as I was coloring, I color. I get coloring books. And that for me is one of the most relaxing, calming activities I ever have done. There have been times in my life where I've had some family issues where I literally bought a coloring book and stayed up till midnight every night and way beyond midnight some nights, coloring. And then I threw the book away at the end. I did, because it was just the process of coloring that gave me, I could take my mind, I had to follow the lines and keep going. So just an idea, one thing to do. Another thing is, and maybe this is part of how I did it, keep positive. Keep positive. There's so many ways that we can do that just by, giving out to the world our energy, but also positive self-talk. Say, I'm feeling fearful, but I'm going to be strong today and I'm going to do something positive. I'm going to bake a cake. I'm going to invite, myself to relax. I'm going to do some self-massage, whatever. Another thing is to gain self-trust. And that's back to the train story of trusting that you can do it. And I'm going to say another story here, which is a quote that I read on Facebook. It just blew me away, this quote. It was so powerful. And it was simply, don't ever give up hope. We were made for these times. And that to me was such an emotional way of looking at tough times. We're made for this. We're okay. We're going to be okay. And, always have hope, because we're made for these times. I think her name was Clarissa Estes, the woman that did that quote. She said, I don't know where she is or who she is, but it's an amazing quote. What else have I got here? I'm not going to go through all 19 of them because we'd be here for all day, but remaining true to yourself. Yeah, accept that if your feelings, things are confusing, be true to yourself. Speak your mind. Don't hide behind trying to be like everybody else. Your uniqueness is what makes you special. And even if you feel like you don't want to go out of the house, pick up the phone, call a friend, send email, draw pictures, do a craft, knit, do something that's going to make you feel, solid and creative. Take care of your health and well-being. Now, this is, of course, lots. I'm not a doctor. I'm not medical. I'm just saying, do the basic things that you know are going to keep you well and healthy. Good diet, eat good food. Don't nibble so much. I mean, I must admit, I've been nibbling chocolate lately just because it feels good. But don't eat too much that's going to harm you. So have a good diet. Get some sleep. Try to sleep, use meditation or other ways if you cannot sleep or if you wake up. And of course, do the practical health things, stay clean, do your normal routines, just stay protected, from things that, might hurt you. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but you know what I'm talking about. So, I think I could go on and on about one that she offers, which I think is just like, let's do it, is find love. Okay, we're not going to find love maybe this time of our lives that is like anything like we ever have had in our past. But I love you. I do. I love this community. I love what we do together. I would invite you, if you are interested, to come join our Patreon group. This is a private group. It's a group that are supporting 60andMe with maybe $1, $3 a month. It gives us a way to continue our job. And also it gives you a community of about 800 women now. But we're off the Facebook world. We're private. It's a private group. We do special videos. We do special live shows. And I don't know, this just might be a time when you want to join. You can drop off at any time, but just check it out and see what we're doing. And maybe during this time we can talk about some of the specific things that are going on in the world, more real time. And because these videos that I'm recording here may be watched 3 years from now. But the Patreon group is patreon.com/60andme. Just an idea, just more for us to be a community stronger during these turbulent times. That would be probably helpful for all of us. So take good care. Have a fabulous day wherever you are. Do some of these things that Joan has suggested, and just know that you're cared and loved and respected. And I value you here a lot. Okay, so take care, everybody. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye for now.